Good evening, good evening. I'm your girl, Dr. Tamika Hall, and welcome to another episode of Meet the Authors. Listen, I'm really excited about tonight. We have not been here for 2 weeks. Did you miss us? I mean, I missed you. So I really hope that you guys were like, oh, where's Dr. Hall? Why is she not here? Because if you weren't, I have, I'm just wondering why we weren't asking where we were. I really gotta say, I'm so psyched. How about the fact that you all have been tuning in every single episode? The numbers have been so incredible that we are still listed as the number 3 show in our particular category over on Amazon Live. Like, that is the dopest thing ever. And we haven't been here for 2 weeks. So the fact that there have been all of these shows that have gone live in between that time and we're still in the top 3, that really says something. So we're here to meet with some more of the co-authors. We're just coming to the end of our series, but we're meeting with some of the co-authors of God Blocked It. This is the newest anthology where we are women who we write these anthologies to speak about our testimonies, and the purpose of them, it is to heal other women. Listen, I want to ask you, please do me a favor, share this out on your page. We're live here on Facebook, on Amazon Live, and on YouTube. Share it out, send out a text, all that great stuff. Let people know that we are live. Send it to the messenger, all that good stuff. And even if, I'm okay if you bully them to be on here. I'm okay with that, right? Dorothea, thank you so much. Dorothea is already hanging out with us tonight, and she said, congratulations, number 3 is great. It is great, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Queen, to be in the top 3. Y'all, I didn't even know that we were making it into the top 5 and stuff until Cyrus Webb told me about this a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, dude, I didn't know that there was even a top 5. That's all you had to tell me. Like, y'all, I'm about to go live all the time. I'm going to go live and read a Bible verse, whatever it is, just so I can stay in the top. I'm a little competitive like that. So I just want to say, again, please go ahead, share this out. Let everybody know that we're live. I also want to encourage you to please be interactive with us. Make sure that you are chatting it up with us in the comment section. Make sure that you're sending us hearts. If you're on Amazon Live, make sure that you are clicking the stars. And if you're on YouTube, I don't know what YouTube does. Like, I don't know if we started at, I don't know. Is it a star? Is it a heart? I don't know what it is, but like, make a comment, be like, what it do, Meek. Okay. Do something like that for me. The whole point is that it lets the algorithm know that I'm super cool. Okay. And it lets them know that this is a show that needs to be watch. Listen, I'm getting ready to bring the ladies on so that you can chat. We can chat and chew. I mean, that's if y'all are chewing over there. We're not chewing over here. Okay. We know how to conduct ourselves. Ladies, how is everybody doing? How are y'all doing tonight?
Doing okay.
You're doing okay?
Doing okay.
I love these plants behind you, Nikki. They are so cute. Oh, I think you're on mute. Let me see if I can unmute you. Okay, there you go, boo.
Sorry. To get me in my perfect state of mind, I need palm trees and mountains. But I live in Maryland, right? So this is my fake palm, and it helps, just to take me to my happy place.
Well, you know what? I've actually read that they say scientifically that even if it is, a faux plant, plants watching nature, listening to nature sounds, watching videos of animals and stuff, that they do bring us, they keep us calm and they bring our stress levels down.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm all about where I find, just that peace, that calm, that serenity.
So do you have any real plants or?
I do. So my daughter is starting to get a green thumb. So she has something called a ponytail plant. I don't know the genus species of what it actually is called, but she has that. And then I have I try to work with some bamboo a little bit. So they're doing okay. But I do not have a green thumb, or should I say again, because my thing is the power of words. I can learn and I can be much better at growing and maintaining my plants. So
I love the fact that you're so optimistic and that you're like speaking that into existence, because my thumb is clearly brown, truly on both sides, because like plants and we just don't make it. So, y'all gonna get the faux plants everywhere in this apartment, and
they look nice.
Thank you. I don't know. I picked up being able to like arrange flowers. One of my friends, she got married a couple of years ago, and she ordered literally hundreds of roses, and she has this beautiful butterfly staircase, and we had to like wrap this thing. I was feeling tortured, but I walked away from it feeling like a florist. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm here to pick up like any new skills. I'm just totally here for it. I see all of you coming into the chat. Thank you all so much for joining us on tonight. This is just another episode of Meet the Authors, where we are speaking to some of the ladies from God Blocked It. Nikki was just talking to us about her growing green thumb, and I want to see this ponytail plant. I promise you, if the plant doesn't have some Rapunzel hair on it, they need to change the name. Okay,
I will see if my daughter can bring it down when she finishes. She's on an online driving school class or something. So
I am like so gonna take one of my old wigs and like plop it on something and be like, "Yo, this is the ponytail plant." I promise. I'm gonna post it and be like, "Nikki, I have the ultimate ponytail plant." Okay, I can comb it, I can braid it. Okay, like we can do all of that. We can do all of that stuff. Heidi, how's it going?
It's going good.
It's going good. Okay, so Heidi,
Yeah.
you know, I'm like really trying to restrain myself from saying like your whole name, because you know every time I love saying Heidi de la Cruz. Like I love it. Just
perfect. Oh, that was beautiful. Heidi de la Cruz. Yes,
I love it. It's like Halle Berry, right? Like y'all, you know, now because nobody ever just says Halle. Like when they say it's like it's Halle Berry, and like y'all know, every time we would have a meeting, I'd be like Halle de la Cruz. How you doing? And it's got to do like all of this. It's like, what are we doing, Tamika? So I've been really Heidi on tonight. How is it going over in your neck of the woods? Where I forget, where are you broadcasting from?
Florida.
So what's the weather like there?
Today it was hot. It was in the 80s, which I guess was a record because you know our winters here. It's not that much, but yeah, today was a record hot day for February, so it's like in the upper 80s. So yeah, it's hot.
So of us are like in Maryland and Delaware right now, so like you see the envy on our face. And
I'm from Michigan, so I know. Yeah,
okay.
I was raised in Grand Rapids, Michigan, so I know all about the brutal winters. And I've been seeing my friends on Facebook saying how there's like a winter storm going over there and things like that. So yeah.
Well, you know, here over in like the Maryland, and it's supposed to be like 78 either tomorrow or Thursday. Did y'all see that? It's supposed to be like 78 degrees or something.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's gonna feel like Florida. Yeah. It's gonna be our one day this week to say we can compete with Florida.
Yeah, that's half for February. Wow.
It is. And then what they were saying, like, you know, all of the other days, I mean, it's supposed to drop right back down to 30 degrees or something like that. And I promise you, I'm the one, like, I wear open toe shoes all year round, so I don't even care. Listen, I keep my feet done all year. I just feel like it's my duty to society for everybody to see my toes. Like, why else would I keep them done? I'm just like, y'all gonna get these toes all year. So, you know, I don't know what to tell you, but definitely in that hot weather, we are going outside. Like, y'all are lucky that I'm not putting on a swimsuit and like, you know, whatever outside. I'm just saying. You thought I was speaking today, Miss Danae? Are you talking to me, Miss Danae? I'm seeing some, look, y'all, I just like totally got distracted. Okay, so Heidi, talk to us. Tell us what is going on in your world. I know that you have your podcast, The American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants. Like, talk to us about this podcast because it's really been getting a lot of buzz.
So my podcast, yes, I started it last year. I am a child of immigrants. My parents came from the Dominican Republic. I was born here. But my husband is an immigrant. My whole family, they all came from the Dominican Republic. And I started this podcast with the mission to change the narrative of immigration a little bit and to also provide a safe space for migrants to share their story. I saw this article on Medium, and it was a migrant from Kenya, and she wrote about how each culture shock that she experienced here in the United States really diminished her confidence. So for example, she thought she knew English, the English that she learned back in her home country, but when she came here, it was a completely different, English, and people were not trying to understand her with her accent and everything. So it really diminished her confidence. So after reading that, I was like, people don't really talk about what migrants go through when they actually get here,
Mm-hmm.
So like, I remember asking my husband, I was like, hey, like, how was it for you coming to the United States at the age of 9? And, he told me his first memories and how he was just mesmerized with everything here and things like that. So like, after that conversation, I was like, that's a podcast episode right there. So that's where it started, because I had wanted to start a podcast back in 2019, but I was like, I'm just going to have girlfriends come on and we're going to talk about life and this and that. But after reading that article, God really put that in my heart to have this immigration podcast. So it's been, again, going on for a year now. I've met so many incredible people. I've learned a lot of different cultures. I've talked to people from Jamaica, people from the continent of Africa. I've talked, from people all over. And it's just crazy how no matter where they come from, I still relate to them in a lot of things. So it's like, we're all, at the end of the day, we're all God's children, and we're all more alike than what we are different. It's really what I'm getting a lot from listening to all these stories.
And I love that. What has been the reaction from Americans?
So I have gotten a lot of people thanking me about the work that I'm doing with this. Just because it can get very sensitive. It can get very, pushing buttons and things like that, because it can get very political sometimes. But I really have gotten good feedback. Really people just thanking me for the work that I'm doing, thanking for providing the safe space too, for people to share these stories and bringing light to these stories. So it's actually been really, really good positive feedback.
And I promise you, I mean, no disrespect by this, but legitimately. So my father was in the military. So I didn't grow up in Maryland. Okay. And on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, the dialect, the accent in Maryland is nothing like what I grew up. Okay. Like I grew up all over the world. And so when my father decided to retire, of all the places to retire, he came back to Kent County. And I promise you, again, this is no disrespect, because I'm not by any means trying to say that my story correlates exactly with what immigrants going through. I'm just telling you, I remember being in the car, because I'm a lover of language. So like I have a degree in Spanish. I took German while I was living in Germany. And I remember being in the car on the way to the Eastern Shore of Maryland. And they picked us up from the airport. And I was like, Lord, I'm 16, but I've always been like super deep and spiritual. And I was like, Lord, help me to interpret what they're saying. Because I didn't know what they were saying. Like, I was like, I don't know what these people are saying. And I was like, Lord, if you did it if we can speak in tongues and we can go to different countries, and you said we can speak in tongues, God, I need you to interpret what they're saying. Y'all, listen. So, and then I also, I taught, I became a teacher, and actually I worked with a lot of students teaching English as a second language. And it really is a difference. It really is a culture shock. And I don't, you know what, we're just going to say here, Black Americans, minority, this is where we grew up. We do not realize, I don't think we understand like how racist and discriminatory we can be until people see themselves through the eyes of an immigrant. Have you found that to kind of be some of the conversation?
Yes, and it really depends. Everybody has a different experience when they come to the United States, even if they are coming from the same country, because it also depends on which state they go to. So like those who come from the Caribbean and they go to like Iowa or something, they are gonna have a completely different experience if they end up in New York. So it doesn't matter what country they come from. They can come from the same country, but their experience that they'll have is completely different. And that's what's been coming up a lot too, just like, depending on where they end up, depends on how friendly people are or how not friendly people are. Some people do have a great experience when they come to the United States. Some people are very welcoming and they help them and things like that, but other people do not. They don't, people don't want to be around them because they look different, so it's just like, these are these truths that you can't take away from them. This is their experience, and I just want to shed light to it and, try to change it to be a little bit more compassionate and more empathetic, because again, we're all here just in the image of God. We need to just help one another, be there for one another. And yeah.
I love that. I love the work that you're doing. And again, everybody, her podcast is called The American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants. And where can we see, where can we hear, listen, all of that good stuff to your podcast?
It is wherever you hear or listen to podcasts. So it's on iHeartMedia, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. And wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find it there.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Marika Jenkins. Marika Jenka. Okay. Y'all know she gets the name every time. It's got to be, I need to like interview you one time and not do that to you.
It's okay. I love it.
Oh, okay. All right. Marika Jenka. So Maria, like, how's it been going?
It's been going all right. It's been better. I had a couple rough patches, but yeah, it's been better. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to hear that things have been better. Yeah. And I've seen where you are making a splash where over the last few months, you have emerged as this jewelry designer.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so, and please tell you gotta have, I hope you have some of your work with you, because you didn't know. I'm hoping that you're like sitting near it. Talk to us about Maria Beads to Heal. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me see. Go ahead, put it back. Let me just.
I'm dropping them.
y'all gotta be ready. Listen, okay.
They're very colorful.
Do you have it organized in the trunk of your car? Because listen, you're not a hustler unless you know how to sell stuff on the back of your car or on like the Coming to America jacket. You're not a hustler unless you know how to do that. I'm just saying.
I got to get one of those Lene jackets from off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good times.
Yes, absolutely. So talk to us about Maria Beads to Heal.
Gotcha. So I don't want to take all the credit from my son. What happened, my 12-year-old, when he was 11, my son Eric, he wanted a job, and I'm like, baby, you're 11, you can't get a job, but you can start a business. So I basically told him, pick something you want to sell. I don't know. And so he came up with he wanted to sell bracelets, and so that's what he did. I think he started that a little less than a year ago, maybe about a year ago. And then, unfortunately, my nephew passed away. My nephew, Robbie, passed away. And so the day that he passed away, I was just, I was distraught. And I'm looking at my son. He's making these bracelets. And I'm like, can I get some of those beads? And so I started making bracelets as a way to, just kind of help me with my grief, And so I literally just started making bracelets like you wouldn't believe. And it turned into a business. I posted them on Facebook, just, like, this is what I've been doing since my nephew passed away to help me, cope. And people like, oh, I want that one and that one and that one. And so, I'm to the point now, I think I might need to advertise, and I need to hire some staff because my fingers are getting tired. My fingers are getting tired. Oh, I can't hear you, Tamika. Oh, no.
See, I can't say something smart when it's muted. You know what I mean? Like, it just takes away the potency of it. Because I was saying, I'll talk to you about my rates.
That's right.
I actually would like to just come and just sit with you and do some beating. That would be fun. Because we got to catch up anyway.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's helped me so much.
Yeah,
it's helped so much. Yeah. Like, I put all that love that I can't give to my nephew, into every single bracelet. And so I've had people say, like, they feel different when they wear the bracelet. And I'm like, that's the love. that's the love in the bracelet, you know?
Yes.
So yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Good stuff. Good stuff. It's so good to just see what everybody is doing. We have Pastor Stephanie saying, I love it. We have Cassandra saying, congratulations, Maria. I do want to give a shout out to those of you that are hanging out with us. We have Tanya Davis that said, congratulations, Nikki Green.
Thank you,
I hope she
Tanya.
says it just like that. Is that how she says it or no? No,
no, not quite.
Yeah, I try to give everybody their own voice. Like, and it's like, but Tamika, you don't know them, so you can't give, okay. We have Mama Vera that says, I'm glad things are better, Maria. I love you. I love that. We have Miss June Smith that is hanging out with us on tonight. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, Miss June. We have Deisha out of Philly. Thank you, Deisha, for being with us on this evening. We got Miss Danae. Hi, Miss Danae. Thank you for, well, Miss Danae just said no. Sorry, I could have picked like a better comment, but Miss Danae, what it do? Okay. Mercy, laugh, the laughing emojis, and that just like is always, it displays who Mercy is. She's probably laughing at me right at this very moment. We have Robin hanging out with us. Robin, thank you so much for chilling with us. You said we're going slam into summer for a day. Then we're getting snow. Wait a minute. We're getting snow. Listen, I have been asking the Lord for snow. I love snow. Y'all, I had to preach in Canada last month, and they got snow the day before I landed. Now, that was good because I would have got like stuck at the airport or something, but I just really wanted snow. But the Lord is giving me snow on Saturday. I'm sorry, everybody else in Maryland and Delaware.
Yeah, I'm going to rebuke you for that because...
No, we don't need a rebuke. Just say, Lord, thank you for blessing her with the one thing she asked for this whole season. Like, everybody wants to rebuke me. And I'm like, that is like not Christ-like. Because y'all get days with no snow all year. I just want like, just give me some snow, y'all. I will curl up on a windowsill and just be like this. Like, you know, I just love the snow. Love it, love it. We got Shantae West hanging out with us. Thank you, Alicia. Y'all, we have Mrs. Delaware hanging out with us over on Amazon Live. She said, she said, hello, ladies. And then she said, Lord, let her get her snow. And then she put in all caps for one day. That's so not nice. Okay. We could ask for 3 days. I'm always pushing it. I'm going to push the envelope. Like we're just going to push this. I just wanted to say hello to all of you just being here with us and just connecting with all of us. We have Keisha James hanging out with us. Keisha, she says, hey, congratulations to everyone. Thank you, my dear, for being here with us. We see Prophet Elisa, go ahead somewhere. No, listen, all the prophets that want to speak contrary to what I've asked the Lord for. Listen, y'all, I'm a prophet too. Don't y'all try to come against my word. I asked the Lord for this. I asked him for this. He loves me. He loves me. I get one day. Thank you, Mercy. Keisha, I'm not even putting she talking about some no snow. I'm not even putting you back up here. I'm not putting that comment. Give me another comment. I'm not giving you that comment. Y'all don't come against my snow. Don't come against my snow. I at least get one day. Y'all, I had to go preach in New York. No snow. Like, what is really good? No. I'm tired of all y'all. So anyway, listen, y'all. Thank you, everybody, for connecting on tonight. We're talking about God Blocked It. We're talking about the anthology, God Blocked It. It is a devotional anthology. We were #1 international bestsellers. God is good. God is good. God is good. We were #1 international bestsellers over here in the USA and over in the UK. And so it has just been an exciting ride. And now for us to know that our whole entire interview series, where we have maintained being in the top 5 of shows on Amazon Live, has just been a beautiful thing. So listen, Heidi, I want to start with you. I'm going to send the rest of you ladies. I'm going to put you guys in the green room. Listen, you see how I'm getting ready for when I actually have a studio audience and stuff, right? Like a whole green room. I will let y'all hang out in the green room. So Heidi, you the chapter, My Saving Grace. I actually would like to start by reading a snippet of the chapter. Am I hearing little babies in the background?
Yes, you can hear my son.
How old is he?
He is 14 months tomorrow. Let me see. Come here. Come here. He'll like come, but then he won't. He'll like stop. Bring him. Hi, you want to say hi? Oh, look at my daughter with her crazy hair.
Hi.
So
How
this is
are
my
you?
saving grace.
Hi. So is this Grace? Hi, Grace.
No, sorry, her name is Leah, but she's the I wrote about her in
Oh,
the
I
chapter.
love it.
And then
Hi,
this is my
Leah.
son. Say hi.
Hi.
And it's my baby. Say
Hi.
hi.
They all got your pretty hair. Okay, so
Thanks. Okay,
now,
go.
because I know we don't see hubby, do they look more like you or hubby?
She looks like, well, they have different dads. So she looks more like her dad, and then he actually looks like me.
You're so lucky.
I know. I was like, right. I was like, I need my son to look at me because my daughter doesn't look anything like me.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
My
yeah.
daughters, they don't look like me. I mean, I
Oh.
get really excited now when people are like, "You look like your mom," like because you haven't seen their dad.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take it. I'm here. Like I'm so I'm so going to take it.
Yeah, I'm glad my son looks more like me because my daughter was just like, she's just her dad, and I'm like, man.
Yeah, we do all the work. We go through all the pain.
Yes.
Like we gain all the weight, and then they come out looking like, I'm like, how y'all look like somebody else? I was just an incubator, like, you know what I mean? It's like, thanks a lot. But I actually do want to start here because your chapter, I love that we actually got to see who you're saving, Grace, who you're actually talking about. Like that was perfect. I didn't even know she was right there, and you allowed yourself to be very vulnerable in your chapter.
Mm-hmm.
How scary was it to go there?
Honestly, it's still scary. I know that we are supposed to be like, promoting the book on our end and everything. And I'm sure you've noticed that I really haven't. And it's because I'm still scared, honestly. So I wrote this scared, and it's just because of the vulnerability and really what I went through, what I was going through at that time. But I do feel that God called me to this for a reason, and I'm glad I was obedient and went through with it. And I do feel like it can help at least one person, because I know that I'm not the first who's gone through this, and I won't be the last. So if I can share my story to help at least one person, it's going to be all worth it. But I am doing this very, very scared.
And I'm proud of you, and I appreciate you even being transparent and saying that, because a lot of times we are afraid to share our story or to share our testimony and all that stuff. And I actually had pulled out a snippet that I wanted to read, and the Lord told me, no, he told me to let you read the poem that you wrote, because I want you to share what you're willing to share. I don't want to bring up anything. And y'all, I mean, you gotta get it, and you have to get it from Heidy. And so please share with us the poem that you wrote.
Okay, so the poem is called Saving Grace, and it goes, once upon a time, I was so broken, shattered in pieces inside, and no one knew, because a smile can hide tears, fears, lost thoughts. I was lost, no direction in which to take my life, no idea of what to do or who to become. I didn't know who I was, no identity. My heart was in pieces, my soul empty, my life unpurposeful. I thought, why am I even here? What's the point of my life? My breaths. I don't belong here. I don't matter. I felt so alone, so isolated. It's like in the silence, I was screaming, but no one was around to hear. Who cared? No one cared. Everyone was consumed by their own lives. Once upon a time, I thought about ending my life, but I was saved by my baby, who gave me purpose, who gave me life. She gave me a reason to be alive, the drive to be better, and motivation to find my identity. The girl who calls me mommy saved my life. God provided my saving grace.
God provided my saving grace. I remember reading the poem, and I was like, wow. I think a lot of us have felt like that, at different times. A smile, it can hide tears. I want to ask you, you describe feeling like you don't want to be here. You don't even breathe. You're smiling so that it can hide your tears. And you get this bundle of joy. And while a lot of women who feel this way, a lot of times they deal with postpartum depression, they deal with resentment, and all those things. How did you come to recognize through all of what you were going through that she was your saving grace?
Oh, man, it's just because it was just so much going on at that time. Again, I was just dealing with the depression, the suicidal thoughts. I was just dealing with finding myself. And at the time, I didn't have, and it's also a story of a huge testimony in my life of like God providing, because when I did find out that I was pregnant, I didn't have a steady job and I didn't have a steady place to live. So literally at one point I'm sitting in my car and I'm like, I'm pregnant, jobless, and homeless. Like, how am I going to get through this, And so it was just such an emotional time period, but God really placed certain people at a certain time of that year that I needed in my life to be able to find that job that I needed, to be able to find a place to live, to be able to just provide for my daughter. And yeah, so it's a huge testimony, and it was just hanging on to God, just hanging on to him, to his word, to his promises, and just knowing that I needed to move forward for her. It was really for her, because that's why I said she was my saving grace. Because honestly, like, to be honest, I don't know if I would be here today if it wasn't for her.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, for the person who may be kind of in a situation like that right now. It's like they're looking, they're like, ends are not meeting. It's like I have more bills than I have money. How do you get the drive to wake up every day and to move forward?
Oh man, it's tough because you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, especially when you're going through it. But looking back, like, God provides. He provides for his children. He is always with us through the hard times. Just hanging on to his word, maybe even trying to find a person that you can trust to reach out to them. I know it's hard to ask for help, and I'm that type of person too. Like, I don't ask for help, but like at that moment, like, I really really needed to, and God provided those people and the resources that I needed at that time. So just know that God is with you. We're with you. If you are going through any tough situations, send me a message. Like, I will be there to pray for you, or if I can help in any way or provide resources or anything. Like, we are not alone. We are in this together. God is with us, and just know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, it does get better. You can get through it.
Alicia says over on Amazon Live, she says, so many people need to hear this. She said, that's why it's made me fearful of sharing your story, because people really need to hear this. Miss Danae says, she said, hanging on to his word, that right there. Prophet Elisa says, my saving grace has blessed me tonight. What a reminder of God's perfect love for us. I want to ask, I'm going to tell you something. I know I had, I was I'd gotten a divorce. I had never lived on my own as a single mother. And I remember how afraid I was for that to happen. And I was, the time I was like 38. Okay. And I was so afraid that I wasn't going to be able to make it on my own, because I'd been married for so many years. And, and I remember living in fear so much that when I started seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, I was afraid to walk toward the light, and I was afraid to accept that I'm on the other side. And, sometimes you get used to living in lack, that you find yourself afraid and like almost crippled and paralyzed because you're afraid that you're going to go back to that place. Did you happen to deal with that?
Oh man. Yes, I did. It was very scary, being on my own. But again, I also had my family. Like once my daughter was born, like it was really like a big support system. But like while I was pregnant, it was really just on my own. But yeah, no, just like I felt like, when is this going to, like the light, like when am I going to see the light at the end of the tunnel, or like when am I going to get through this? But yeah, just being scared to be on my own. But then I don't know, just always looking back, it's like I wasn't alone though. Like God was there. Like what is that, the saying, like when you're being tested, that the teacher is silent and during the test? Like that's how I see it. Like God was
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
quiet, testing us, seeing if I was really going to hang on to him, really if I was going to say that I, like, really, am I really a believer? Am I really believing that he's going to be there with me? So that's how I felt that time. Just like I felt like I was alone, but then it's like I wasn't. Like he was there with me every single step of the way, just hanging on, and me just hanging on to his word. And so yeah, I definitely had those fears, just being on my own and everything. And like when am I going to see the light? When am I going to see the light? But honestly, like I'm so glad to be, on the other side, to be able to share my story. And just as you guys saw, my beautiful daughter, who will be 10 this year. So this was 10 years ago when I was going through all of this. So I just look at her lately, really, I don't know if it's because of this interview that was coming up, but like these past couple of days, I've just been looking at her and I'm just like, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad, like, you're my daughter. Like, you're so beautiful and things like that. So it could have been because of this interview coming up, but yeah.
But what I love, and I'm gonna actually bring the ladies on. What I love is how God he'll give us a moment to reflect on just, he'll let us look back and see how far he's brought us, right?
Yes.
Ladies, have any of you been able to kind of what part of Heidi's story resonated with you? Because Nikki, I'm not sure if you're a single mom, but I know Maria and I, we were the two times that we were pregnant twice together, and so we know all about those struggles. And she knows about me having to sleep on the floor. Like it was interesting. We definitely went through that. And so I would love to ask you, Nikki. I'm not really sure what your situation was, but like, do you?
Yeah. I am actually divorced, so I co-parent with my ex-husband. But even while I was married, he always worked second shift. So most of the care of my daughter, all of that fell to me, But yeah, what resonated with me was, I don't know that my situation, at times it was desperate. I will be very honest. I was in an abusive marriage. Most of it was mental and verbal abuse, but there were times that it did get physical, And so for me, just during that time, even being pregnant and when my daughter was young, it was really about her being my motivation in so many ways that you described, and me understanding that, the purpose of her coming, though the union was not a good union, the purpose of her coming was for me to be inspired and pursue my dreams. And I will tell you, she was also my strength that said, you leave this marriage. You leave this marriage because, first of all, I was blessed with a happy home as a child. So I saw what love was, and I said, this is not it. And so therefore, I also said to myself, now, a lot of the times, thankfully, she didn't see the physical abuse and things like that. So that was good on the one hand, but also just the energy and not wanting her in that home gave me my strength to say, I walk away from this not for me alone, because I may not fully have the strength, but I walk away from this for her. So yeah, it definitely resonated with me that being the saving grace of helping me to understand, what I needed to do, and keeping me motivated, when things got difficult.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I love that. And I know all about that, where there's something about the lioness that exists on the inside of us, that it's like, we will take so much stuff, but for our children, we will shift, we will move, like we're going to fight you, we'll bite your neck, we'll lift up a car and throw it. You know what I mean? We will do something for those babies. And it's amazing that the Lord created us to be able to reproduce and to nurture, but he put that on the inside of us. And that's really just what makes us so special. Lakeisha says, she says, that's a word, purpose, procedure from pain. God knows what he's doing. Maria, talk to us about just, overcoming as a single mom and finding the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I connected with everything she said, because I can remember when I became pregnant with my first child, I feel like she saved my life. I wrote about it in The Purpose in My Pain. I felt like she literally saved my life. I'm a suicide survivor, and I just attempted suicide before I found out I was pregnant. So I wasn't pregnant, but I got pregnant quickly after that. I'll put it that way. And so I feel like, she was my saving grace. So when I was reading your chapter, I read it a couple times because I really connected with it so much. I tell my daughter that all the time. And I know that it wasn't her that saved me. I know it was God, but he used her, So yeah, I totally can connect to every word. The poem. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the poem, it really got me. I remember, I know what that's like to, just as a woman and feeling trapped and feeling like I'm in the middle of a room and I'm screaming and like nobody's hearing me and nobody sees me. And honestly, I just didn't feel like people cared. Like I felt like people just wanted me to smile and look pretty and just to shut up. So yeah, I definitely did. I resonated with that 1000%. Listen, everybody, I'm really excited that you are connected with us. We are speaking to the authors of God Blocked It. And it is amazing how the Lord steps in on our situations. I really hope that you've been connected and taking notes and being motivated and empowered by the conversation on tonight. Heidi, thank you for doing this afraid, and thank you for trusting me to help you tell your story and just even trusting me in this space. And I'm definitely appreciative of that. Pastor Stephanie says, yes, like, yeah, you probably didn't say it like that, y'all. Stephanie, she is not that excitable. I mean, she doesn't do all that. I put a whole lot of extra noise on that. And she's like, she reminds me of my mom in terms of the fact she's got this really sweet, demure voice. And I don't have that. Like the Lord did not give that to me. Good evening to you, Teresa. So good to see you. So good to see you. Yeah. Like I know like Stephanie was not like punching the air because she don't do that. Like she's real chill. I do that. Y'all might have people doing backflips and stuff, and people like, but she doesn't even act that way. And I'm like, I don't really know what to tell you. So Maria, I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to be able to chat and chew with you for just a little bit. I see y'all laughing at me over here in these comments. Yeah, because Stephanie, that's not you. It's so me. I see Lakeisha over here. She's laughing as well. Maria, I wanted to talk to you about your chapter. It stops with you. So I'm gonna put the other ladies in the green room. We are talking to Maria Jenkins of the international bestselling book, God Blocked It. And your chapter is It Stops With You. I do want to start with reading a section from your chapter, if that is all right. So you said this, you said, growing up, there was always this heavy, eerie feeling in my community that I couldn't quite put my finger on. It's hard to put it into words, but I'll try. It sort of felt like sadness, misery, discontentment, hatred, grief, fear, and regret all rolled together. Some call it generational trauma. Others refer to it as a generational cycle or curse. I want you to talk to us about what is a generational curse for those who may not understand what that even means.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that. No, I'm kidding. I'm messing with you.
Pastor Craig, come and get her. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, please, Pastor Craig.
I know he's talked to y'all about that. Yeah.
So a generational cycle or curse is something that's passed down through the bloodline. That's my definition of it. So, for example, like poverty, that could be a generational curse or cycle. Having babies out of wedlock. Divorce. I mean, teenage pregnancy, substance abuse issues, things like that are some examples of generational curses that can be passed down through the bloodline. So, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. So I wanted to ask you, in your
Mhm.
chapter, you're very transparent, and you speak
Mhm.
on, you actually say that you grew up in poverty, and you said
Yeah.
that people really looked down on all of you, that or on you, that people made fun of you and all of those things. I have literally known you. Can you believe we've known each other for almost 20 years? Like
Yep.
it's actually pretty amazing. But the whole time I've known you, first of all, what I can appreciate, and I know you'll appreciate this because you know how quickly people can get on my nerves. You have never gotten on my nerves. And I've always loved like
What?
it's like thanks a lot. I guess that's a compliment. But like
Thank you. Wow.
over the years, like the Lord has definitely worked on me. God, I thank you.
Me
Okay.
too.
The
Wow.
Lord has we have grown up, Queen. We have
Indeed
grown
so.
up.
Child,
We've
I
been through
was
some
a
stuff.
wretch undone, living in a world of sin, child. A world of sin.
Indeed. Y'all,
Sheesh.
I've said it before. Maria knows, she knows some secrets that nobody else is gonna know. Okay.
Child.
And so no,
Woo.
you have never gotten on my nerves.
I
But
love that. Thank you.
you
That
never
means a
have.
lot.
You've never
I
gotten on
mean,
my
it's
nerves.
funny, but it means a lot.
Listen, you've never been one who I'm like, I hope she does not call me. It's never been like that. And I say that honestly. I know I'm being funny. I am being honest, but
Yeah.
I say that to say you have, I never saw where there was a poverty mentality, or there was
Mhm.
the residue from being bullied or treated badly. I never saw
Yeah.
that. You were always a positive light, upbeat.
Yeah.
How were you able to be that way?
Um, I think it had a lot to do with how other people made me feel. And it's like, it's one of those things, sometimes people can treat you so terribly and horribly, and you repeat that cycle, and you're nasty with people. I treat people the way I want to be treated. I don't intentionally hurt people. I'm not saying I've never hurt people, but I'm saying I do not, go out of my way to hurt people. And I've taught my children the same thing. you know um the things that people say, they stick with us.
Mhm.
The way that we're treated, it sticks with us. And so, I've kind of like made it my life goal to not hurt people. If that makes sense. I'm one of those people, if I can't treat you right, I just leave you alone. I'd rather just leave you alone than hurt you, if that,
Mhm.
so. But yeah, I'm very conscious of what I say to people and how I treat people, because I know how it feels, to have my feelings hurt, to be broken, so.
And you did mention this, so please let me know if you don't want to go here. Are we able to, just for the person who is probably tuned in and they've considered ever taking their life, would you be willing to just talk to us about, you don't have to go into detail, but just talk to us about what made you think, okay, this is my solution? And I asked that question because I actually in the book do talk about having suicidal thoughts, and
Mhm.
I've said it to people before, but I've never actually written it down. And people, their reaction, they've been really surprised by
Mhm.
that. And people are so quick to say, oh, it's so what do they say, it's so selfish.
Oh
but
yeah,
i
they do say
I
that.
remember feeling like I really didn't have any
Yeah.
other outlet. I really felt like I did
Mhm.
not have control over my life. And for me, it's what made me contemplate it. And so I wanted to ask you, for the person who's probably like, she always seems so strong, she's always smiling,
Yeah.
talk to us about that moment. Yeah, that was a scary time in our lives.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely so. I think with me, because I had gone through so much trauma in my life, and growing up in the Black community, we really don't talk about getting help. We don't, seek, it's like what happens in this house stays in this house. And so I'd kept so many secrets for so many years, and it just got really, really heavy. And it was almost, I feel like at some point I was just being triggered, memories, things I'd forgotten, I was remembering, and, remembering things from a child, my childhood. And I was at the time, oh my goodness, 20, 25, I think 26. So it, that was a lot to remember something that happened to you when you were 5 or 6 and you're in your 20s. And so I was just living like in a triggered state. And at some point I said, I felt like that was the only way I could get any rest or a break from it, and I've heard people say this before, other suicide survivors, it's like once you do it, you instantly regret it. You instantly are like, oh my God, I wish I could take this back. And I remember that was exactly how I felt, but it was too late. I mean, thank God I'm still here to be able to talk about it, but I can just remember that instant regret. What helped me was, after my suicide attempt, I had to go to a mental institution for a bit. Like I didn't have a choice. I had to. And in order to get out, I had to see a therapist, a psychiatrist. And so that's what helped. Being able to talk about some of that stuff that I had been holding in, that stuff that, I can remember talking to, ex-boyfriends, past boyfriends, trying to let a little bit of it out, but it was nothing like getting that therapist that, you can just lay it on the line, and then just starting to understand, why I kind of got to that breaking point. It was, I think it was, they had diagnosed me with complex PTSD. And they basically said it's like, you put a book on your head and you're able to walk, and then you put another one, it gets a little harder, and then you add a third one, it's like, whoa. And then when you put that fourth book on there, you're stuck. You can't go anywhere. And that's kind of how my therapist, explained it. Like I had trauma upon trauma upon trauma to the point where I was just at a standstill. So, but yeah, I would tell anyone, just talk to someone you can trust. Definitely get into therapy. I'm a firm believer that we need God and we need a therapist. Talk to someone. If you can't get into therapy, everyone knows someone they can talk to. I do believe that there's that one person, but yeah,
it's amazing because you're right. I believe I was 25. We were somewhere around there, 24, 25. And we never talked about that. I think obviously who I am today, I probably would have asked you different questions. I do remember like kind of being like a mama bear, like hovering a lot and like, you all right? Yeah. But I've never heard anybody say that there was the instant regret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Instantly.
I guess looking back on conversations, I see where you did, but we didn't. For me, my thing was I didn't want you to feel like you were, you were weird or anything. Like that was my biggest thing. Was like I didn't want you to think that you were weird. And I'm like, hey, girl, what we gonna do? Let's go eat some pizza and some fries, or,
right?
Maria fooling with me would have gained like 25 pounds because that was my answer. I was like, let's go eat some pizza and fries, right. Like and all that stuff. And I appreciate you sharing your story. You have this line in your chapter where you say, I consider it a blessing not to struggle with unforgiveness.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
How important was forgiveness in the journey of who you are today, in just the journey of becoming?
It's every time I try to explain this to someone, it doesn't even sound right, but I've never had the issue of like struggling with forgiveness. I will forgive someone. It's an instant thing. I don't put any effort into it. It just happens. But the one thing is I hold on to that hurt. Does that make sense? So it's like, I forgive the person, hold nothing against them, but I'm still hurt, So that's the one thing that I've been learning how to do the last few years is to release the hurt. But yeah, it's forgiveness is very important. I actually had wrote something down. I can't, that's okay. I don't need to talk about it if I can't find it. But I just know that a lot of people struggle with forgiveness. So I don't take it lightly that I don't struggle with it, if that makes sense. Because I know so many people that do, and I can't relate, but I can understand it. I can understand. Especially like me, people, they look at me crazy. They're like, how do you not struggle? Like I've gone through so much trauma, You know what I mean? Like there are so many people that I still see that have hurt me when I was a child, you know, and I wish them well. I'll go and give them a hug before I even think about it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I should be mad. You know, I should probably be mad, but I love you. Come here, baby. You know, I don't know. I'm glad God made me that way. I'm so glad. Because life is hard enough.
And it is, and you know, people don't realize, like, I'm just learning more and more. You know, Dr. Davita is one of the co-authors on the book, and she's a forgiveness coach. Like, she teaches how to forgive. Yeah, she's a forgiveness coach. And I guess I never realized how unforgiveness contributes to so much disease and just, I mean, I don't know. I didn't realize that. And so that was something like amazing to me, you know, that a lot of times for us, the Lord, once we tap into forgiving people, I have seen where people, their healing is activated because they have made an intentional effort to forgive. Cassandra says, like a smoldering fire, no flames, but the flickers are still there. Miss Danae says, struggling with forgiving self, going through the process. And then Lakeisha says, forgiveness is freedom. Yes, and Mercy's right. Like Dr. Davita's thing is, she said, forgive and forgive again. And every time it comes up or what have you, that's one of her things that she says, and I forgive again. And she makes that an intentional thing. And so you're right. I think that is powerful. So the title of your book is, the title of your chapter is It Stops With You, right? Is it stops with you or is it stops with me?
It stops with me.
Okay, it stops with me. How do you identify, for the person that's listening, how do you identify what needs to stop with you?
Gotcha. I mean, I'm trying to think of how to answer that. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I feel like, you know, going through so much as a child, you know, being mistreated and bullied and all that stuff, not repeating that cycle with other people, with my children, just, you know, like it had to stop with me. The hurt had to stop with me. I could not pass that hurt on to anyone else, and especially not my babies. Especially anybody who knows me knows my babies. You know, and I could not pass that on to them. So it had to stop with me. It had to, and it wasn't. There was, I mean, I remember I was a yeller. I was a screamer, child.
Were you?
Not child. I would holler at them kids. You hear me?
Never.
I would holler at them kids. And one day I went to open my mouth to yell at those kids, and I said, "Girl, what are you doing?" And I stopped. That day, I don't know, something was just different. And I said, I cannot continue to do this. And I stopped yelling that day. And so if I ever like raise my voice, the kids are like they know I'm not yelling at them because I don't do that anymore. You know, it's like, I'm just a really like chill individual. I'm just real chill.
In all these years, y'all, I need y'all to understand, I would be in the room, I would twerk around the whole room. I'm the one, and Maria would just sit there and just laugh at me. I have never heard her get louder than what she is now. So to hear you say you're a yeller, I'm like, you're lying. No. I've never seen you yell. I've never heard it at all. But I'm gonna tell you, well, nobody's going. I mean, y'all would be surprised to hear that I too was a yeller. I'm sure y'all are surprised by that. But for me, I was a yeller and I was a cusser. And I mean, I would cuss for no reason. Like, there was no reason for me to even say the word. And I'm using a cuss word. Like, I would just make up a sentence so I could say a cuss word. Like, it didn't make any sense. Like, and one day, thank God this didn't happen to you, but y'all, and here I was, again, this was years ago when I was very angry, had a lot of unforgiveness. And here I am, like, I was teaching. This is before like we had Zoom and all of that stuff. And I was teaching this online masterclass and I spazzed out and I didn't realize that I hadn't hung up or shut the webinar down. And like, I was going berserk. I was cussing everybody out, but I had just been, okay, everybody, God bless you, and I'm like, and I mean, when I tell you, I went, it was like 10 seconds later. I thought I shut it down. I wasn't even off of my bed before I was like cussing the whole house down. And there was somebody on the line that I highly respected. I called her auntie, and she like started like calling me. And so I answered, hello. And she was like, Nisi, you're still live. And that was incredibly embarrassing for me. It was incredibly embarrassing. And I mean, you would think I would have totally stopped. I mean, I didn't totally stop, but it was a thing like what you said, where one day I was like, you sound a mess. Why are you screaming? Why are we yelling? It's like, you guys are going to do what I tell you to do, and I'm not going to yell. And so now I yell because I just talk loud, but that's all it is. I'm not screaming. I'm not cussing. And it was funny because one day, it's been a while now, but I remember my kids being like, yeah, mom doesn't do that anymore. The girls were talking to each other in the backseat. Yeah, mom doesn't do that anymore. She doesn't cuss anymore, and I was kind of like, yeah, girl, you don't do that anymore. You know what I mean? And so that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Let me see here. Why did Kenya say, old tickle tongue Tamika? I can't stand you, Kenya. Y'all, that's the baby cousin right there. Even though she's not really like that much of a baby, that's the baby cousin. Kenya said she did say that 61% of cancer patients struggle with unforgiveness. She said, I was dealing with this during my sickness. That is so amazing to me. That's amazing to me. Teresa says, that's awesome. She says, I still struggle with forgiveness. I'm walking it out, taking baby steps, but keep pushing. I love that. Pastor Stephanie says, forgiveness activates healing. It's a process for sure, but it frees you from the residue. Y'all, it's that residue. Ladies, Nikki, Heidi, talk to me. Like, have y'all ever struggled with unforgiveness? Have y'all ever dealt with that? And how do you deal with it?
I guess for me, what I have found is, I think by nature, I don't hold grudges, but it was something similar to what you said. It's sort of, though I may still hold on to the pain. I can, interact with that person and all of that without, I'm not going to get angry. I do sternly believe, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And I've seen God, just do amazing things. I remember one time, again, the old, marriage, and I remember him just talking to me like crazy. And so, I know that I'm at a place in God where, he will put things into motion. So I said these words to him. I said, God, until he can talk to me correctly, take his voice, and so I meant it one way, right? But what started to happen is all of a sudden I would like be on a call with him, and then he would text me. And I'm like, what's going on? And then finally he texted me this, something is wrong with the mic on my phone. It's not working. I have to get a new one. So God said, I'm merciful enough. I'm not going to take the man's voice, but I'm going to break his iPhone until we get this together. So I guess because I see how God will work and deal with people, that I'm able, and just by nature, just not a grudge holder, but I'm working on making sure I don't keep revisiting that pain myself.
I love that. Good stuff. Good stuff. Heidi, what about you? How have you been able to forgive?
Yes. So there's been two people in my life who I've had to forgive without getting an apology. And I was holding this grudge. I was for years. And it wasn't until there was a sermon at church, a message where it was about forgiveness. And I was like, Lord, you are speaking to me. Fine. I was like, fine, I really have to let this go. And so obviously, praying and just praying to be able to forgive. And then that's when I finally realized that, forgiveness is for yourself. It's not for the other person. It's for you. Like, because if you hold on to that grudge, like it can literally make you physically ill. Like it will work from the inside out. And so, I definitely relate. I had to finally let go. Prayers, God definitely helped me working on that. And then I realized, forgiveness is for me. It's not for the other person. So, and that's what I tell other people too. Like, come on, like, forgive for yourself. So
it's for yourself. I love it. Lakeisha says, unforgiveness is like you drinking poison. Yeah, she says like you drinking poison. Miss June says sometimes it's hard to forgive and let go. And I love the fact that we are acknowledging that. Like, and I love that everybody's saying, listen, it's a process. It's definitely a process. Prophet Elisa says forgiveness is for you, whether they ever say I'm sorry. You must forgive them and yourself for allowing them to hold you hostage in the hurt. And Pastor Stephanie says, yes, it's for you. I do believe she was, at least in her mind, punching the air on that one. I believe that, Pastor Stephanie. I believe that's what you were doing. And I'm gonna tell you, like, sometimes that is the hardest thing to move forward from. And I had to learn that years ago, that sometimes you have to accept the apology that you'll never receive. And I remember when I did that and I actually moved on with my life, I will say to y'all, I got an apology from this person who I never expected to get an apology from them. This was probably about 2 years ago. Never expected an apology. They gave me the apology. And then what they try to do is they kind of try to gaslight me. Like, they were like, listen, I just want to tell you that I'm sorry. I was jealous of you. You were jealous of me. I actually let them finish their sentences. And then I was like, I appreciate the apology. However, I was never jealous of you. I was like, I can put you in your place on that, but thank you. But it felt good because I didn't even need it. I realized, I mean, we're talking about, it was probably a good 16 years had gone by. I never thought I would get an apology and my life had moved forward. And so it's like, you clearly were stuck in this space and you did not hold me hostage. Kenya says, I realized how much power I was relinquishing to the other person, and I had to forgive. We give people the power to control us. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I want to give a quick shout out to Chris Hall over on Amazon Live. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, Chris. I appreciate you. I don't think that we are family. You said that you're from Oklahoma. I don't think we're family because Hall is my married name. I'm actually a Johnson. So I don't think we're family, but we can certainly be cousins in the family of the Lord. So if you want to be my brother my brother, or Chris could even be short for Christine. So I'm not even sure, but we could be family in the family of the Lord. Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for following me over on Amazon Live. Ms. Danae says, unforgiveness that I carried was hidden until I found myself in a psych ward. She said, letting me learn how to forgive slowly. My God. Yeah. Ms. Danae spoke to us a couple of weeks ago regarding that. And it is amazing how much unforgiveness will just take us in different directions. Lakeisha Hall says that she claims you, Chris. So we invite you in. We invite you in. We're in the army of the Lord. And we can all be cousins, brothers, and all that good old stuff. But yes, we claim you. I enjoy the family. Nikki, I want to spend some time with you. I want to be able to chat with you and to talk to you about your chapter, Bulletproof. First of all, Nikki, can I just say how pretty you are? Y'all, Nikki is always like so regal. And I know everybody sees like her perfectly pursed lips right now. And I mean, I know that's just your face. But they're like so perfect, like, and like, I find myself over here, like, I just want to be like, so, how is everybody doing? Well, let me see, because I see Maria's tried it. Maria tried it. Don't even act like you didn't. Heidi, don't act like y'all didn't feel like you needed to be like, yes, forgiveness is for me. Okay, like Nikki has this natural sultry look all the time, and I'm adopting it today. So.
Well, thank you.
Says, she looks so calm. I can't even do this. Okay. I can't even do it. I mean, that's your face. So God just gave you a beautiful sultry face. He gave me a loud mouth, and I just got to be happy with it. So, okay. I just got to be happy with it. Nikki, I'm excited that you joined us on this project again. on another project with me. I so appreciate you hanging out with me and my craziness. And the title of your chapter was Bulletproof. I want to take a moment and read a short snippet from your chapter. You say this: I heard glass shattering, quickly followed by my mother yelling to my dad, "James, did the TV fall over?" His answer would forever change my life. He said, "No, I think someone just shot into the house." I struggled to breathe. It felt like hot air was coming into my nostrils. I was having a panic attack.
Yeah.
When we finally assessed the damage, the details were unbelievable. Talk to us about it. Now, what I love about what you did in this chapter is you really kind of did a continuation, and we got more insight into what happened on that night.
Yeah.
But please, if you could just take a minute and give us like a recap of your chapter from Stronger Than the Storm, and like talk to us about what was going on that night so that we can just kind of catch everybody up to this moment.
Yeah, so I guess for me, where they connect is that this was sort of the journey that you kind of see culminate. In some ways, it's the other way that you see culminate in Stronger Than the Storm, because what God was showing me through that incident that night and through other things leading up to my life is sort of the authority that he was helping me to understand that we as Christians have. And so in Stronger Than the Storm, I talk about a time where my father was on his deathbed, basically. And I said these words to God. And I said, God, it seems like things happen in my life and I have no control. Show me how to have some control. Now, again, sort of the doctrine, most of the doctrine that I grew up with tells me, well, you don't have control. God is in control of all of it, and it's either his permissive will or it's his perfect will and all of that, but what God wanted me to understand is that there is a piece to it where we do have some control over things that happen to us, because he wouldn't tell us to speak to mountains if the mountain's not going to move unless he tells it to move. And so what happened right after I said that to God, about 2 weeks later, a lady called me and she says, Nikki, you want to go to this revival with me? And, I'll eat from every table, especially now. But back then I thought about it and I said, okay, I guess I'll go. So what was happening was there was a prophet from Texas. He was a visiting prophet and all of that. But also the preacher of the house was there. He's an 85-year-old man. And what happens is I go up for prayer. And I tell him, my father's sick. I was dealing with my own thing. I've dealt with depression. And so I'm telling him all of this. And he says, do you know Luke 10:19? And so back then I knew more scripture along with the address of it than I probably know now. But for some reason, and I know the reason, I didn't know what Luke 10:19 said. I took my guess. And he said, no, it says, behold, I give you authority. This is God talking to us as his believers, to trample over scorpions and serpents and over all the power of the devil, and nothing shall by any means harm you. And so as I was leaving, he wasn't done, because as I was leaving the church, there's a bookstore. And he called me and he said, come here, I want to gift you this book. And it was called The Believer's Authority. See, so I asked God 2 weeks ago how to take control. And God said, today I'm going to teach you your authority. And so what began to happen, it took a long time, but really being able to understand that there are things that God has given us power to do. And when we always just say, well, I gotta wait and I gotta leave. No, he told you that life and death is in your mouth. So as you go through your trials, you can't speak exactly what you see, as I talked in Stronger Than the Storm, but you have to talk about through his will, of course, and his will is his word. You quote his word back to him. You quote his word over a situation. So in this situation, I was nothing like who I am today. I was this weak little scared girl who, yes, we had grown up in church and all. I knew miracles were possible. I knew all of that. But I was scared for the wind to blow. Like the least little thing, I was a mess. And our church was in the inner city. So I swear sometimes we'd be going to church and I'm ducking. I'm like, they might get the shooting around here. So God had to use a situation like this to help me understand that he didn't give me a spirit of fear. And against all odds, to see his hand and sort of, the 91st Psalm and still, what it brings up in my spirit even today. He said it can come on your right and your left. These bullets, they were on the right and the left, but God said it won't come nigh you. And so that's sort of how the two connect for me.
And for those who haven't had an opportunity to read her chapter in Stronger Than the Storm, Nikki tells us about this really this scary evening where everybody was sitting in the living room. And you can always take over because you can tell it better than I can. But everybody was like in the living room. You take it over. Yeah.
Yes. So the details of it are this. What would have happened, and that's where I just know God was at work in every little detail. That time of day on a Monday, we would have all been in that living room where those bullets went through. And my father, he's like your sitcom dad in a way. He had his favorite seat, right? And then my little sister had just moved from where she was on the sofa. And what we usually would do, we all watch one show a week. And at that time, it was The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. One show a week together because my mother was busy and we were busy with school and church. And so we, which is not a good thing to watch a whole bunch of TV anyway. So that was our one show a week. But this Monday at 8 p.m., we were not in those places that we normally would have been. Had we been, my little sister just moved through where bullets went through. My dad, where he would have sat, bullets went through head level. And we asked him, he was on the other side of the room. He never sat in that seat. And so we said, why didn't you sit there? He said, I didn't feel like it tonight. I just didn't feel like it. And so it's just like when you find God in these details, it just absolutely blows my mind that it was just so intricate in the way that he had us, positioned that, this was to come to show me something. It was not to come to be a tragedy or to take, anyone's life.
And of course, we want everybody to grab the book from you to get more details about it. But in fact, it was somebody that they wrongfully shot up y'all's home.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, is everybody typically would have been sitting in the living room, but everybody was just in a different place. And everywhere that y'all would have been, bullets hit all of those places. So, the title of your chapter is Bulletproof. Because this happened, when you were younger, how have you been able to take how God kept you back then all the way through to now, where, now you're a mommy and all of these things?
Funny you should say that, right? And again, yes, I do have, I guess just from how I was taught as a kid, there's a certain way that I carry myself, and there's a certain amount of information that I feel comfortable with exposing. But I guess what it has taught me is this. It taught me that God and his angels are round about me. It's taught me that the Holy Ghost will communicate. And so, I love her with everything in me. But when you say as a mother, how do you sort of use that to walk into the situations that I face? So, Lord Jesus. So back in October, I had just come back from a work trip in Boston. And so I'm tired. And so my daughter, is a good kid. She's usually completely honest with me. And so she says, Mom, can I go to a party? I'm sorry, Mom, can I go hang out and spend a night with a friend? Yes, absolutely. He will guide you. And so what happens is I'm like, okay, you can go. And the household that God has allowed me to build, even if my daughter is spending the night with a friend, she calls me and we say the Lord's Prayer together every night. So she did not deviate. She got to what I thought was the friend's house. And, she called me and we prayed. About 20 minutes after that, my phone rings. It's my daughter. But there's nothing on the line. And then I continue to call back when I say 30, almost 40 times, because I'm like, what is going on? Why would she call me and reach out to me? And then when I try to get back to her, I can't. And I can tell you that in this moment, yes, I'm trying to hold on to Bulletproof and so many miracles of protection, but it's hard with each call that I make and she's not picking up her phone. And so God has always shown me things as an adult, either in my mind's eye or the Holy Spirit. And so I said to him, just, I was in a bad place. And I said, God, when am I going to hear from her and know that everything's okay? In the midst of this, what has happened is I have found out from her friend that she went, whose home she was supposed to go to, that they're actually at some party. And she's not where she told me she was going to be. So then, the enemy, they've given her something, they put something in her drink, like just every thought imaginable. Though I've seen God move and I've seen him work, but this feels different. And so God's answer to me in my mind's eye, when am I going to hear from her? 12:07. That's what I see in my mind's eye. And this is like, again, my 40th call. So at 12:07, I said I'm a FaceTime this time. This just what was on my spirit. And at 12:07, a little girl, not my daughter, a little girl picks up the phone. And she goes, "Are you her mom?" And I'm like, "Yes." Like, what's going on? And she said, again, no one's perfect. I get that. She says, I think she had something to drink. And I said, what? Number one, my daughter.
The address. Yeah.
And she couldn't handle any kind of drink,
Right.
and a little teeny thing, and her first time doing it. She said, but I'm right here with her and I'm taking care of her. And I'm like, you take her pulse, everything good. I'm being a doctor on the phone. And then she says to me this, I'm a nursing student, so not only was God moving, and not only did he tell me when I was going to get the peace that I needed, but he had a little nursing student was at this little party she was up to. Needless to say, we dealt with that. But what it showed me was that, no matter the situation, put your faith in me. I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up and I'm going to comfort you even in the midst of it. So yeah, it still resounds that he's in control.
He is in control. He's still in control. And I love the fact that you did, because this is the lesson too, is that you still, even though you were nervous, you fell back on God. I was like, okay, Lord, so when am I going to hear from her? And he gave you the time. And what I love about God, like if we have relationship with him, he will do that. He will literally speak to us. He will give us times. Honestly, if you would have asked him, hey, tell me where she is, he probably would have told you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like he will do that. Well, he was saving her life though that night. Because it's a good thing you did. Yeah, because you would have went in there and busted up everybody. You would have become everybody's mama that night. You would have been everybody's mama that night. Everybody been like, whose mother is this, right? Yeah, so I just love that. And like you said, everybody is not perfect. And I know all of us mommies, we have stories for days just of different things that we've had to deal with. Talk to me about that, because when we do grow up a certain way and we do present ourselves a certain way as a mom, and I'm gonna bring the other ladies on here too. How do you accept the fact that our kids are going to be kids and they're not always going to be perfect? Because I'll tell you that that's something I had to learn. I have my oldest one. She graduated high school early. She's in college. She's never a problem. That baby though, whew, God, like she keeps me on the altar. You know what I mean? And I really had to get to the place where I had to realize it was not an affront to my nature, and it really was not even really a reflection of me as a parent. And I really began to wrap her little neck in prayer. Okay. That child is saturated in prayer. And that's when things begin to change for us. So for y'all, like, how did you get to the place where you're like, you know what? I don't have to be perfect. I can just be the best me that I am as a mother.
I knew for me that, first of all, I was trying to find a balance. The upbringing I brought, we were very strict, was very strict. My parents were overprotective. Me at a friend's house, I remember being at a family member's house thinking this was going to be my first sleepover. Around about 11, mama knocked on the door and said, let's go get your stuff. So I wanted to always find a balance, because I remember with that overprotective, we were very sheltered. And it wasn't the best way to then learn how to understand the real world when you've had those confines and you've had all these, protections around you. So I guess for me, I've tried to find that balance. And then she's an only child, so it's like, yes, she needs to socialize and things like that. But I tell you the truth, because I have to practice what I preach. What I understood was a couple of things. Number one, she still had the presence of mind to do what? To call me to pray. She knew she was wrong, right? But if you train up a child, she still has those things down in her. And although it's very difficult, that situation, I haven't, except for maybe 2 close family members, haven't shared it with anyone, because I felt like it was a stain on me. At the same time, there are kids out here I know doing 10 times worse. And the last thing that I realized is that your reaction to a situation can put things in motion that cause similar things to come right back over and over. As a man thinketh, so is he. So if I begin to think, oh, I have this terrible child, no, I have a child who had an incident that there was some indiscretion. And when I say she was repentant, because of more than anything, she scared me.
Yeah.
Yes, so she scared me. So
yeah.
she's repentant about what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I grew up in the household. Mom, they would let me go to a sleepover, but I had to be up for church the next morning. Okay. We still went to church. Like, okay, you can go to this birthday party, but you're gonna go to church. Okay, all right. Somebody else talked to me about, and I love how you said it being a stain as a parent.
Yeah.
And honestly, just anything we go through in life, sometimes we think because we're going through something that it is a stain, and it's really not. Like, nobody, we carry and we wear garments of shame, and we wear shame when it's not even for us to wear it. So somebody else talk to me before we get on out of here. Like, talk to me about your thoughts on how to move forward without feeling like you're being stained for everything that the babies do, or even what you've gone through in your life. Heidi's like, you go, Maria. Maria's like, no, you go, Heidi. Like,
I'm looking at Heidi like, go ahead, girl, go ahead.
Well, I'm trying to think, because my babies they're still babies. So, my daughter's 9 and my son is just 14 months. So so they're,
you deal with temper tantrums then. Have you had that yet?
With my daughter, I did, but I was like real quick to be like, we ain't doing this. Like, not in here.
Amari cut up inside of Dollar Tree a couple years ago. That girl acted a fool in that place. I am not that, like, you don't do that with me. It was so embarrassing. She had to use the bathroom. And I was like, you gotta wait. Like, we had been on the line. Like, it was Christmas time, y'all. We didn't have money. Like, back then, those babies were getting their gifts from Dollar Tree, okay? And we, like, because we couldn't afford it, okay? We'd been in line this long time, and next thing I know, she's grabbing her crotch and she's screaming at I've got to pay. I was like, oh my God. Like, and I'm like, I'm around, like, they're not all chocolate. Like, all the people there are not chocolate. So I can't, like, yoke her up like I really want to. So I'm just kind of sitting there like, yes, thank you. Do you have a bathroom in here? Like, the other kids are too small to take her to the bathroom. Oh my God. Like, when I got in that bathroom, I promise, I was ready to sling her up against the wall. I was like, and I had to stop because I'm like, she's your child. But I was like, there. But I mean, like, child, I had to think about whether or not I was a good parent that night, because that little girl. And then you got your parents that are like, I would spank her, but no, you're not. Not when everybody's staring at you in the store. You're not spanking anybody. Okay. You got the little security guard because it's Christmas time. Y'all ready to take me to jail or call Child Protective Services? She was like grabbing the front, grabbing the back. I'm like, if you don't get your life. Maria.
Oh gosh. I'm just trying to get myself together because I can see it.
Because Amari.
Yes.
It was so embarrassing. And for me, y'all, I decided to, like, splurge. I actually bought some plates. you know, because I was always getting paper plates. And so for the first time, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and buy some plates from Dollar Tree. I was excited to get some plates that go clink, clink, like they were real plates. So, you know, then they're wrapping them up and the lady's moving all slow. And I'm like, just throw them joints inside of the plastic bag. Like, can we, you see, she got a pee. She's got her hand in her crack and the other one. I'm like, what are we doing? It was just so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. I'm still embarrassed about it.
Oh God.
Look, Elisa said straight jail, like straight jail. I mean, I was so embarrassed. I'm still embarrassed. And Amari is about to be 16 this year. So it's been like 13 years of torment. Thanks a lot, Amari.
How?
I know, right?
Jalen's about to be 16 this year. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh. Now, Maria and I, we go way back where there'd be times I'm like, I don't have anybody to watch the kids. Y'all, she would be like, go ahead and bring them up here. I'd have to drive 30 minutes, but she'd watch my baby.
That was so long ago. Oh my gosh.
Lord, we thank you.
But yeah, I gentle parent. No. It's effective. I mean, it works for me. It doesn't work for everyone. You can't gentle parent every child.
What does that look like?
So I speak in low tones. I'm calm about it all. Even when I'm screaming inside, I'm just calm. And I mean, it works for me. I've had my kids tell me like, Mommy, I can talk to you about anything. There's nothing I can't come to you with because you don't get upset. And I'm thinking like, baby, I don't get upset. Like, you just don't see it because I'm going through all kinds of changes inside, but I just keep it, I keep it calm. And I'm open about a lot of stuff with them. You know what I mean? Like for instance, we had a cousin who, unfortunately, he overdosed. He went, had a heroin addiction and like they went through each step. Like I would explain to them what was going on. You know what I mean? And so It's just, I don't try to expose them to anything they shouldn't know, but there are certain things like they kind of need to see. They don't just tell you not to use drugs in the DARE program. Like this is what happens. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're not perfect. Of course they, neither am I, but they're a lot different than I was when I was a teenager. And I know my mom is on here. So she probably like, child, because I mean, I was a mess. But mine are, I thought I would get it back. You know what I mean? But they're chill. I mean, God knows what you can handle. He know I wouldn't have been able to handle getting that back.
I don't know what he gave me because I didn't think I could handle it. I didn't. Heidi, do you gentle parent or listen? So Spanish is so pretty. Like it's like so melodic. You like go off in Spanish where like for us, we singing to them in Spanish or something. Like y'all, Dominican Spanish is so pretty. Like,
well, you said that you were able to spend the night. I wasn't able to spend the night. Not even a friend's house. Not even a family member. There was no spending the night. And now I do that with my daughter. There's no spending the night. Nothing. Like no.
I get it
here.
Now.
She's best friends with the next door neighbor. I was like, don't think that you can spend the night over there. I don't care if it's right next door. You spending here.
She can sleep here.
Yeah, but not over there. I actually just recently thought about my approach in parenting because I actually watched the show on Hulu called The Parent Test.
Yeah, have y'all watched that?
No.
It's
my God. Have you seen it? Did you see all the episodes?
I haven't seen all of them. And like now, my kids are older, so like this is like the most beautiful time of life right now because they're older. Andrea and I, my oldest, we've been watching it, and I'm like, what is natural parenting versus
new age and things like that? So I never really thought of which way I was parenting until I saw this show. And the one that I am is the disciplined parent. Like I am like whatever, she's like being not strict, but it's like, this is what you need to do. If you don't, these are the consequences. And this is why I do what I do. So I'm a very disciplined parent. My daughter says I'm strict, but that she understands.
She's gonna say that,
but she says that she understands why. And I do talk to her a lot. Like I have very open communication with her, even at 9 years old, just because I didn't have that growing up. My dad was just like, no, because I said no, like that was it. It was just, and it just felt to me like he just said no because he could say no. Like he just had that power. So at least with her,
like we do that as parents. I promise. I do that. I do it sometimes still.
I try not to. I really, really do.
I agree. I do it sometimes. I'd be like, say nothing.
So So I'm definitely more disciplined and try to explain things more to her and try to give her choices too. A little bit like you can pick this time. Actually just yesterday she cooked. I was like telling her like, oh, season this and then put it here.
Nice.
And she's 9, so she's
she's
very independent. Yeah.
I love it. She's going to be a great cook. Yo, I have had such a really great time with all of you. I want to give you an opportunity to let everybody know how they can connect with you on social media, and how they can purchase the book from you. And actually, Heidi, you just kind of finished chit-chatting with us. So I want to go ahead and start with you. Let everybody know how can they connect to you and how can they purchase a copy of the book from you.
Yeah, so I like to hang out on Instagram, which you can see my link. There's my name, Heidy.delacruz13. And actually in my link tree, you can go ahead and click there, and then you'll be able to purchase the book through the link.
Through the link. I love it. I love it. So make sure that you guys connect with Heidy de la Cruz. Listen, say it again. Say your name, girl. Say your name.
Heidy de la Cruz.
Oh my God, it's so pretty, right? Okay, I'm gonna leave you alone. It's just so pretty. I only said it like thrice times at the beginning of this broadcast, so I did really, really well. But y'all make sure that you connect with Heidi to read her story, My Saving Grace. Make sure that you go with the Linktree link there because it links you to all of her stuff, including where you can purchase a copy of the book. Marika Jinka, I need for you to let us know how can we connect to you online and how can folks purchase a copy of the book from you?
Gotcha. You can go to my my website, mariawritstoheal.com, or you can send me an email at mariawritstoheal@yahoo.com.
I love it. I love it. Make sure that you guys are connecting with Maria Jenkins. Go to her website, mariawritstoheal.com. Maria, I just heard the Lord say that you need to prepare to host some type of a healing workshop with beads and the bracelets. So start thinking about that and putting that together, because whatever your process is, it's more detailed than you just sitting down and putting beads together. But you actually have like processes. And I literally, the Lord showed me with you having, some people, and you're actually teaching them how to heal through this process. So, consider doing that. I love how God just catches us all off guard when he does that kind of stuff. So sorry, Maria. But you're used to it by now. All right. So Nikki, let everybody know, how can we connect to you? How can we grab a copy of the book from you?
Yes. So definitely reach out to me on the Instagram Word to Reality. And, go ahead and we can follow each other, all of that. You can message me there, and I'll make sure that I get you a copy. So yeah, please do reach out.
Yep, reach out. Make sure that you connect with Nikki Green over on Instagram, Word to Reality. If y'all are here on Facebook, I'm pretty sure you can inbox her on Facebook as well. Any of the ladies, make sure that you just stay connected to everybody. Mom Vera says, I've learned a lot tonight. So glad I was able to get on tonight. We're excited that you're here too, Miss Vera. Thank you so much. Lakeisha says, awesome job, ladies. Listen, it has been a pleasure to have you all here with me tonight. Thank you for being so transparent and open. This has really been beautiful. This is the ponytail.
I did not forget you. Ponytail poem.
Yes.
Walmart. Yeah.
I am like, listen, I'm here for it. I'm like, y'all don't even understand. Like, that ponytail is like my spirit plant, whatever that would be. But it would be that. And Elisa has been here. Elisa has been here when I'm not wearing my hair to see my hair. And sometimes underneath it looks like that.
Oh.
Let us see it again. What's her name? Is her name Tamika?
What did my daughter gave her some silly name? I've forgotten, but yeah, she did name her when she first got her. Sorry, I've forgotten.
I have to get one of those. Are they easy to take care of?
It doesn't require a lot of water for some reason. I guess
here comes my green thumb.
So it's storing. I think it's storing a lot of water in this trunk, this piece here. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Word. Okay, yeah. I'm getting one.
Oh, Consuela. I'm sorry, her name is Consuela.
I heard Tamika in that. I did. Elisa said, I can't with you. Elisa she's seen me sometimes. I've gotten better. I've learned how to cornrow my own hair now. Because before that, y'all, it was set it off to the left underneath. I couldn't do it, but I've learned to go. Yeah, so we have protective styling going on here, and y'all, my hair is growing. Don't play with me, y'all. My hair started grazing my shoulders. I needed to wear a neck brace. I heard it one day because I was flipping it around. I was like, my hair is moving by itself, honey. I almost hurt my neck. Anyway, I love you all. Thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. Listen, on tomorrow, I have Miss June Smith, and I also have Pastor Stephanie Smith. I'm so slow because I just realized that y'all two have the same name this afternoon. Don't judge me, just love me. I love y'all. But we're gonna be back tomorrow, same time, right here, Facebook, YouTube, Amazon Live. I love y'all. Make sure that you grab a copy of the book, God Blocked It, from one of these incredible queens that are on here tonight. Actually, why don't you grab one from each person so that you can get 3 separate autographed copies of the book, and then you can bless somebody with it. Yeah, I know. Yeah. See, Pastor Stephanie, I was just like, wait a minute. Miss June's name is June E. Smith. I'm like, did I call her the wrong? Y'all, it was a whole process, literally. And I was like, yo, Meek, how did we not know this? You've been with these ladies since September. How did we not realize it? I didn't realize it. I love y'all. Pastor Stephanie says, wonderful interview, ladies. We love you guys. Remember that I love you, that you have been anointed and appointed to do great things, and y'all have a good evening.